According to my YouTube analytics, this is probably you. A person that has just bought their first car and it was probably very, very cheap. It's more than likely going to be a Toyota Camry, a Ford Laser, a Mazda 323, or even a Mitsubishi Lancer. It's also more than likely very, very slow. And because you're now a car enthusiast, you want to make it faster, but you don't have the money to do so. Now, you've probably done some research into turboing your car, and the prices of these turbo kits are eye-watering. I'm here to tell you guys that it doesn't have to cost that much money in order to modify and turbo your car, and this Turbo Lancer is living proof. And today, we're gonna be doing some cheap modifications to transform the Turbo Lamborghini so it doesn't look like regular traffic, because right now, it does. There's a box somewhere in this garage, which I gotta show ya. Ooh, and inside are some cheap parts in order to make the Lancer look sick. Inside this box is something that's gonna transform the Lancer. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's gonna make this thing handle better and also look a whole lot better. But before we open this box, I've gotta do some other stuff to the Lancer to make it great again.
Go best friend. That's my best friend. Go best friend. That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
Before we start today's video, guys, I want to remind you that we have some new stock at BenkiSpec.com. These new hoodies with the Lamborghini on the back and the Benki version Toge on the front. I've created these hoodies so that you can use them while working on your car at home. That's the reason why most of these hoodies are black. They're also very durable, and of course, I use this in the garage all the time when I'm working on my cars. They're also very warm. They will keep you warm during those cold days. Bro, look at that sick design. The Lamborghini. If you're in need of a hoodie to work on your car with, then make sure you head over to BenkiSpec.com, grab a hoodie, grab some stuff, and that's, of course, the best way to help out this channel and help me build some cars. Here it is. This is the fit. This is my own personal one. As you can see, design on the back looks pretty sweet, and of course, it's gonna keep me warm, but it's a little bit warm today, so we're not gonna be using it. BenkiSpec.com. Go check it out. Anyway, a big problem that we've been having with the Lancer is that I haven't finished it. There's a few little things happening in the interior that we need to fix up before we call this thing absolutely finished. But as you can see, we still don't have the wideband hooked up. It's just chilling here and I need to mount it. So we're gonna mount this thing. God, that looks so bad. Here's our little gauge pod. This is gonna mount just around here. Oh my. So I found this on eBay. I actually had this installed on the Black Lancer, but this is a little gauge pillar pod that will mount roughly around there on your A-pillar trim. So we need to run the wires all the way up to the A-pillar, so we have the gauge right around here, because it's pretty important to be able to look at the gauge, especially when you've street tuned the car. You want to be constantly monitoring those AFRs, making sure that you are hitting the right target, because if you're not, that's how you blow up a motor. So I've got to figure out where I want this thing. Probably around there is pretty good. We're going to need to drill some holes. So here's my little collection of self-tappers that I've accumulated over the past few years. We're just going to send the thing with the drill. Measure once, cut twice, baby. Hey, look at that. There we go, installed. Pretty rough, but should do the job. Next thing we need to do is drill a hole so that the cables can come through. So I'm just going to drill a hole right there. That's the same size of the plug that we need to push through. So step bit, baby. Oh my God, that's a big hole. Here's the wideband. It should sort of sit right around there. You can see it just sort of sits in place. And then we'll be able to look at the readings while driving, which is pretty ideal. But I do need to now run the cables all the way from here to up there. That's annoying. Usually the best way to get access to everything is to remove this. And I think I've just installed this by press fit. Yep. This right here just clicks out. There we go. And now we should be able to run all the cables behind the head unit and then up through to there.
That's my best friend. That's my best friend. That's my best friend. To the end, me and you. Ooh. If you spend.
So this is what I've jigged up. I've got a wire going down where I want to pull the other wires up to. So I'm going to tie this wire down to the plugs, and then I'm going to pull everything up, and then I should be able to get the plugs up there. Little trick, little hack for you guys. Let's see how well this works. Worked a treat. Got the wires through, and I only did a single knot as well. I'm now going to put the cables through the little hole in that trim piece that we cut. Then we're going to put the trim back. Everything is now installed. As you can see, got the wires coming through. Let's test it out. Key on. Hell yeah. We can now clearly see the AFRs while driving. Very, very ideal. Now that we've sorted out the interior, I want to work on the exterior, and I want to start off with the bumper fog lights, because we installed these big fog lights in this Evo front bumper to function, and currently they're not wired up. So I want to wire these up so I can have some fog lights. That would be sick. Now, I'm not an expert in wiring, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to wire these up. But essentially they came with two H4 port globes. So this is the fog light globe, and it did come with its own little harness, which is going to make things a lot easier. But essentially on this H4 globe, there is a high beam and a low beam. We're only going to be using the high beam, of course, because we want the max amount of light coming through. We're not going to be powering both, just the high beam. Now, the absolute easiest way to install the fog lights would be to wire them up to a switch, but I want them coming on when I flick my high beams. And in order to do that, you need a relay. What a relay does is it allows you to power multiple things at once using a different power source. Basically, when I flick the high beams, it will click the relay over, and then the relay will provide power to both of the fog lights. I'm gonna try explain as best as I can, but if you want to really know how a relay works, then make sure you look it up, of course. I'm gonna also try to do this as neat as possible using some plugs, so we can have everything disconnectable. But I'm going to first start off by wiring up the relay. So here's the relay. It has a negative port and a trigger port. The trigger you want to wire up to something like the high beams, so that when the high beams come on, it triggers the relay, which then connects the circuit. The circuit then will provide power to anything that you want, such as the fog lights. There's multiple different power sources on the relay, so you can power multiple things. And we're going to run two power sources to the fog lights, and then from the fog lights, we're going to run grounds to the chassis or the negative terminal on the battery. It's pretty straightforward. The relay that I'm using is clear, so you can see how the circuit works, but there's a lot of wires and it can be a bit time consuming. Okay, here's an update on the relay. As you can see, we have the relay with a few more wires now. We've got positives connected to an eyelet, and this will go to the battery. We've also got a negative that will go to the battery. And then we've also got the two wires that will go to both of the fog lights. This right here on the relay will be for the trigger wire. And we've also got these plugs here, which I've put on, as you can see, to make everything nice and clean. All right, guys, I've been chipping away at this for a few hours now. Essentially, I've just dummied everything up to make sure everything works. We've got the light disconnected here, just so that we can use that as a trigger wire. We are now gonna test to see if the fog lights turn on. Let's see how we go. Gonna put the normal lights on. I'm gonna see if the fog lights turn on, which they shouldn't. Connect this up, nothing is happening. That's good. Put the high beams on, and then if I touch this wire, I can hear the relay. Yes. Heard the relay, and we got the fog lights working, so. Bro, hell yeah. That looks sick. Oh yeah, we got fog lights, baby. That is so cool. Oh my God, I can't wait to try these at nighttime. All right, we've completely finished the wiring now. Check this out, guys. Man, it looks so good. Camera definitely doesn't do this thing justice, but just wait. Wait till this thing's lowered. Wait till it's got some wheels. Look at that, man. Hell yeah. I'm stoked. It now is complete. Finally looks like a mini Evo. This thing is literally smiles per gallon. It drinks fuel, but it makes me so damn happy. I finally got the wideband, and we're just gonna take this thing for a little wash because it's dirty, and I want it to be clean before I do all the stuff that I'm gonna do that's in that big black box. Oh my God, this thing's fast, man. I've been driving around with some of the boys in the car, and having extra people in the car really makes a difference. Like, this thing does not pull with 2 or 3 people in the car, but by yourself, it rips. Like, it's actually a fast car. The dose is not as good though as the 1.5, which sucks. torqueier, way more responsive as well. We just need grip. We have no grip at the moment because the tires that we're using are like dry rotted, I'm not gonna lie. All right, we're just at the car wash now. We're gonna spray this thing down, make it nice and clean because it's dirty as it's been sitting outside for a while. But look at this thing, man. Mini Evo, baby. Yeah, she needs a bit of a clean.
Got some cool bitches wanna stay down. Me, I'ma play it smooth, get up and we lay down. Low key, cause this ain't a safe town where I'm from. But it's cool, they know I don't play around. Baby, lay down. Get up and we lay down. Yeah, and lay down. Get up and we lay.
All right, we are all done. The Lancer is now clean. Look at that, baby. It's even got the fog lights. Those fog lights are looking spicy, man. Hell yeah. This is definitely the cleanest this thing's been in the time that I've owned it. It was pretty bad when I picked it up, but scrubs up good for a $650 Lancer. Not bad, eh? So what is in the box? We, of course, have some new coilovers from Max Peating Rods, baby. These are their new style coilovers. Look at these things. They've changed up their design. They've got like a gray finish and they've also got like a blue spring, and apparently these handle way better than their old ones. So we're gonna put these to the test. Very excited to install these because the Lancer right now feels like an absolute boat. So these should definitely help the car handle and obviously make it look good. So these are very easy to install. Let's see how quickly we can do these. Let's take these wheels off. So the first thing that we're going to do is remove this brake. As you can see, it's held on by a C-clip. So we're just going to pry this off and then we're going to remove the nuts. There we go, C-clip removed, brake line removed. Then we should be able to just move this out of the way. And then I'm going to remove the top 3 bolts and then everything should just come apart. Oh my God, there we go. All right, we should be able to get this thing out now. There we go, pretty easy. Oh. Okay, we've got both sides out and we are now ready to install the coilovers. And I just want to show you the difference between the Max Pitting Rods and the standard one. As you can see, the Max Pitting Rods ones are much skinnier, the spring's much smaller, which means that it will be stiffer, but we do want more stiffness because these are very floppy and don't help us with handling. So the stiffer the car is and the lower it is, the better this thing's going to handle. And of course, we do have dampening adjustments, so we can adjust the stiffness of them. We're just going to line them up, make sure that they are the same height, and then we're going to put them in and go from there. Literally the same as installing them, just reverse order, and they also come with their own hardware for the top, which is very ideal. Now there is no way we are installing the old wheels on the Lancer. We're going to put some new wheels on, but wheels that you guys are familiar with from the old Lancer, because the fitment on the standard wheels is crap. So let's go get the old wheels, baby. Coilovers and wheels, man. Ooh, hot boy wheels. Oh my God. Very hot boy. Oh my God. Massive shout out to Mike Lake. I don't know if he sells them anymore, but 2-step garage wheels are going on the Lancer. You guys already know these wheels. Don't know the specs, but they're multi-stud, and we have a 195 tire stretched on this. But yeah, let's chuck these on. These look sick. This car's gonna look so good after this. Look how good these things look, baby. We are now gonna set the camber on the coilovers because they also have top hat adjustable camber bolts. And all you need to do is just loosen the Allen keys off like so. Push it all over. You can probably kick the wheel for some help. There we go. We're gonna tighten these up and we should have the maximum amount of camber. Coilovers have now been installed. We're just gonna chuck the car in the ground and see where we're at height-wise. And then of course we're gonna have to do the rears as well. Just gonna place some ramps underneath because the car is much lower now, so we won't be able to get the jack out. That looks sick. Now the alignment's all messed up, so we're gonna need to get an alignment, but we'll do an eyeball alignment to drive this thing around. But the height looks pretty good. That is sick. That is literally perfect fitment, man. The next thing that we need to do is roll the guards because these wheels are significantly bigger, and because we're lowering the car, we need to clearance this gap right here. If you're not sure what this means, go look it up, rolling the guards. But as you can see, this quarter's pretty bad and the car's not perfect. So usually you would use a guard rolling tool, but I am literally just gonna use a hammer. I did this on the other one, but I do not recommend what I'm about to do. Do not do what I'm about to do. Do not copy me. So I sort of jumped the gun a little bit on the other side. I've already installed the coilover. Bit of a pain to do the rears because you need to drop the lower arm, and you also need to lower all the other arms because you need to tighten everything in laden. Now, if you don't know what that is, essentially you want to tighten the bolts, simulating when the car is on the ground. So you jack the suspension up and then tighten everything. Because if you just do the bolts while the car's in the air, and then when the car goes on the ground, then the rubbers won't be in the right position, and then you can cause the rubbers to prematurely wear. So you want to make sure that you tighten everything when the car is in laden. So the first thing we're going to loosen to make sure everything's in laden is this 17mm bolt that holds the lower control arm in. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. So we're going to loosen this one as well. These ones. And then we're going to loosen off that one back there. Then we should be able to take the 2 bolts off the top and drop the coilover. Okay, we've got everything tight now. We've got the 2 17mm bolts on the lower control arm and the camber bolt adjusted. Everything's been tightened in laden, and we're now ready to chuck the wheel on and put the car in the ground. All right, here we go. Rears, let's see where they sit. Whoa, that's pretty perfect. And that still feels pretty comfy. Hell yeah, that's flush fitment. That's sick. Jesus, this thing's low. Alrighty guys, we finally have the Lancer outside the garage, now looking like this. I can confirm now that it doesn't look like regular traffic. This thing looks so much better with the wheels and coilovers. Like they say, wheels and coilovers is all you need to transform a car, and this thing looks freaking awesome. I also took it over some bumps as well, and the thing handles fantastic. Obviously, we still don't have an alignment, and the wheel doesn't point 100% straight, but in terms of comfort, they actually are very, very comfortable. I'm surprised. I know that Nathan thought they were a little bit too stiff, but I think they're just right. If you want to grab some coilovers like these, head over to the description down below, use my discount code. But yeah, I'm super happy with these. Thank you guys so much for watching. We've got more plans for the Lancer coming soon. I'll see you all in the next one. Catch up.